This is an R Media podcast.
This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare. Hey TJ, just calling to say hi, check you're well. You know how you always make fun of me for crying at the drop of the hat? Well, guess what? I've just had the most amazing conversation with 4 women who maybe outdo me in the tear stakes, and we loved it. It was cathartic and it was healing, and I will tell you all about it when I speak to you on the weekend. All right, until then, love you. Bye. Who's the woman in your family who holds everyone together? Is it your mum? Is it your sister? Or a best friend who's become chosen family? I want you to close your eyes and really picture them. Okay, now picture what it would feel like to lose that person. Not to illness or an accident, but to something that could have been treated if only someone had caught it in time. That's what's at the heart of today's episode. And a trigger warning here, we're going to talk about some tough topics, including suicide. Louise, or Gidget as she was known to those who loved her, was that person for her family. She was funny, she was radiant, and she was loved. In 2000, she became a mother for the very first time. And then, in the months that followed, she was quietly lost to postnatal depression no one around her fully recognised. One that ended in her taking her own life when her daughter was not even 9 months old. It was completely shattering. But out of that grief, Louise's family has built something truly extraordinary. 25 years on, the Gidget Foundation Australia has now supported close to 13,000 Aussie families facing perinatal mental health challenges. And it all began with the simple and devastating discovery that there was nowhere to send a donation to in Louise's name. Today, her mum Sue Cotton joins us, along with her sisters Jacqui and Simone, who co-founded the Gidget Foundation, and Jasmine, the daughter who is now Louise's legacy.
He rang me one day and he said, "I've had the conversation." And I said, "Oh, what conversation was that one?" He said, "The one I've been dreading." I asked her if she knew what suicide was. And she said yes, she knew what that was.
Not that I'd been holding on to it, but it almost felt like a weight had lifted, just knowing.
I'm Tiffany Dunk, and this is the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories. Sue, Jacqui, Jasmine and Simone, thank you so much for joining us here on Love Stories. We're so thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Now, I think it's always wonderful seeing families together, and there are things that unite us as families. I'm wondering, my family, we bond over our love of food and a really good belly laugh. Usually it's something the other one's done. What do you as a family really enjoy doing together?
Drinking champagne. We're good champagne drinkers, especially Mum.
Yes.
Well, learnt from the best, right?
Yes. I don't mind pleading guilty to that.
Yeah.
No.
And dinners that would go with those champagnes as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely long lunches and dinners, I think, are very popular for us,
Yeah.
for birthdays and things like that.
Yeah. And we're very lucky to have a really close family, and we can all get together and sit around and just be together. It's lovely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to kick off and I'll start with you, Sue. I think outside of the Gidget Foundation, can you just tell me about Louise? Tell me who she was and what really made her so special.
Yes. Well, she was my first baby, and my husband worked as a sales rep, so he was away every week from Monday to Friday. So she was my number one, and I had never held a baby before her, so I learnt really quickly. And she was, from this terrifying little thing, she became my number one, absolutely. And and we always had a very, very close bond. She was a really quiet little girl, But she grew up to be an advertising manager, which takes a lot of effort and not being shy. But she was a lovely girl. She really enjoyed life. She had really nice friends and went through all the problems that other kids go through. But you could just say she was a really well-rounded, lovely girl who did her very best at everything she did.
Yeah.
And she rang me pretty much every day of her life as she got older. Yes.
What was she like as a sister for the two of you? Because obviously she was your big sister. So what sort of role did she play in your lives, especially when you were little kids?
We used to fight a lot. Louise and I shared a room. So, so she was very tidy and I was very messy, still am. She was a good big sister. She was one that sort of checked in everything with Mum. Mum always knew what was going. Yeah.
Told me too much sometimes.
She told Mum too much and I told Mum nothing. So I guess we're very different in that way.
Balance each other out.
And for us, it wasn't until we were in our adult life that we became really good friends, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
how about for you, Simone?
So I'm a bit younger. Louise and Jacqui were 2 years apart, and then I'm 5 years younger than Jacqui. So Jacqui was quite cool and didn't invite me anywhere. Louise did. She would take me to the beach and on outings to the shops and things like that. And we were very close.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about how she met her husband, Dave, your dad.
Well,
They met at a party.
They
Yeah,
met
they
at
met at a
I think
party.
they were at Scone.
Yes.
David's family home, and
Once they met, they were not apart.
They were like
they met, and then
they
the
were,
first date, they weren't.
Yes.
They were inseparable.
It was yes, absolutely.
What was it about the two of them that drew them to each other? What was it that made...
It's hard to say, but
Well, I guess like looking at them, what could you
Yes.
see that made them such a great match?
well, they looked alike.
They did. Louise was, I was going to say, not clumsy is not the right word, but she was someone that would, what's the word for Louise? Dave's very organised and very sensible.
totally.
He's got structure, a lot of structure.
Yeah, she was not. She was
flippity gibbet.
Yeah. So they were very, I guess, different in that way. But attraction, likewise, they were so well suited.
Do you remember when she first said, I think I've met someone, or can you recall that conversation?
Yes. She was very excited. She didn't stop smiling, and it was Mother's Day not long after, a week or so, and we invited him out on the boat for a lunch.
I love this story.
And they arrived. Louise was not practical particularly. They arrived with the boat trolley sort of thing, which had a box of beer and a pot plant in a concrete container that we had to climb down a ladder to get onto the boat. And my husband said, I don't think you'll be needing that. Well, we sort of did. I mean the bear. Yeah. But we really liked him from
the moment we met him.
From the moment we met,
Yeah. So how quickly did it progress from dating to a proposal?
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. I think it was about 9 months.
I was going to say it was months, it wasn't years.
Yeah.
Like they knew they'd found their match.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they do say you know when you know, don't they? Yeah.
Yep. I think it was actually 9 months from the time they met to the time they married.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's quick. Tell me about the wedding preparations. Were you all involved within that? Well, obviously you weren't here yet.
Well, they pretty much made up their mind where they wanted to be married. And it was a restaurant that we, as a family, often went to on special occasions. It was right on the beach, and it was the most beautiful day. There was kids playing cricket out on the lawn in front of the restaurant. It was a really beautiful, sunshiny Australian day. It just couldn't have been. It couldn't have been better. She wore a red wedding dress.
Wow.
Because when she was asked how she wanted the dress to be, she said she wanted it sexy. So she saw Kerry Ann Kennelly wearing a red dress at the Logies and decided that that's what I'm going to have.
And it was fabulous.
And it was, yes. She warned everybody that she was going, in case they got a shock when they
saw
went
her
to the wedding. And it was a really lovely day.
Yeah. Had Louise always wanted to be a mum? Was that idea of starting a family something that came about quite quickly?
I don't think so. Jacqui was the
Me,
one.
from
yes.
2, 3 years old, I wanted to be a mum.
Yeah, she wanted to have my life, stay at home and then go to tennis.
I love that that's what you thought kids were.
No, it's very different.
Yes, no, I don't think she was ever, I didn't sort of think that was a priority in her life. But as soon as they got married, I think they decided that they should get on to this because they were a little bit older. I mean, compared to today, they weren't. But
how old were they?
33 when
I was born.
When you were born.
Yeah.
So they would have been married when she was about 30, I think.
Yeah,
because it was about 3 or 4 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. But they tried and didn't have any luck. And they were sort of talking about IVF. Then she became pregnant.
Phone call from the Great Ocean Road.
Yes, they were on holiday.
I got to have a tour by Dad to see the toilet block that they called from. So.
And I did the pregnancy test.
So then tell me what happened next. Talk to me about those early days of pregnancy and how Louise was feeling.
She loved it. She loved being pregnant. She sort of got confused towards the end of her pregnancy. I was going to buy her a baby blanket. We went to David Jones and she couldn't decide whether she wanted a woolen one or a man-made sort of fabric. And looking back, that was the first thing that I noticed. That was not really like her because she sort of knew what she wanted and she'd buy what she wanted but she was well the whole time through the pregnancy. I don't believe she had any morning sickness or whatever. And when she was in the hospital, sitting in a hot pool, waiting for Jasmine's arrival, she called and said, "Oh, this is so fantastic!" And as soon as Jazzy was born, she said, "Oh, that was so much better than I thought it was. I think I wouldn't mind having another one." It's like on the day Jasmine was born.
Is that your memories as well, Jacqui and Simone, because had either of you had children by this point?
No. I was living in the UK. I was in London, so I wasn't here for the pregnancy really. I think Simone's wedding, she was pregnant. I saw her pregnant then.
Yes.
But then I moved to the UK just after Simone's wedding, so I wasn't here. So I was talking to her on the phone, and as Mum said, I spoke to her after Jasmine was born and we were on the phone for about 4 hours and she was just saying it was the most amazing journey and experience and I want to have another one. I'm not going to wait, she just loved that whole experience.
Yeah. And during the pregnancy, I had noticed she was quite fatigued a lot, which I just thought, well, that's what happens when you're having a baby and your body's doing such an amazing thing. So we had, all the preparations for my wedding. And then in the lead up to it, she was a bit like, I don't really want to do anything. Maybe I'll do a reading. But she didn't want to be a bridesmaid. She was like not so excited as I was anticipating she was going to be. But of course, all during that period, we don't really know how she was feeling. In hindsight, you think about it all a lot. But like at my, weekend away, we went to the Hunter Valley and she was very quiet that weekend. That was just before the wedding. And then at the wedding, she did a beautiful reading, but unfortunately, the videographer didn't have the microphone turned on.
Oh, no.
And so I was still so disappointed by that because it was such a gorgeous reading. And we don't have that on record, but we've got some photos of her doing it. So that's,
Yeah.
That's nice. So you were there too, Jaz?
Yeah. How
She
pregnant was she at that point?
So my wedding was at the end of April and Jasmine was born in September.
Wow.
So
you noticed a few changes, but nothing that you couldn't put down to sort of being pregnant and that stage of life.
No, not at all. And I'd never spent any time with a pregnant person before Louise was pregnant. Like, obviously, I was a bit younger. None of my friends had babies. There was no one else in the family that had had a baby.
Yeah.
So it was all new.
Yeah. She was the trailblazer there too for the family. In a minute, we're going to hear about the last weeks of Louise's life and also the phone call that no mother would ever want to receive. I'll see you after the break. Confession time, guys. I'm really lazy when it comes to my skincare routine. To be honest, I'm lucky if I remember to wash my face at night and don't even go into applying all those different steps of toners, serums, creams, all the different things. It's why Vixen's all-in-one moisturiser was such a game changer for me when I came across it last year. Just one step, done. But I've found a new secret weapon and it's become just as easy to add into my lazy girl routine. Vixen's Shake to Activate Super Vita Serum is lightweight, it smells divine, and it's really good for hydration. And I've got super dry skin, so that's been really great for me. All you need to do is just shake the bottle, apply a couple of drops to your face, and then whack on that moisturiser. And literally, what could be simpler than that? I'll let you in on another secret. If you go to vixen.com.au to purchase now, just add in the code LOVESTORIES, that's Love Stories, all one word, at checkout, and you'll get an extra 30% off. You're welcome. Okay, so then after Jasmine is born, can you talk to me on what happened next? Like, what were the following months like?
Well, she just adored it. She adored it.
Oh,
I meant it being a mum.
Yeah.
She really did love it. But she loved me to be with her, and I popped in pretty much every day. One thing that I remember that really bothers me still today is that I went to visit one day and Louise came to the door holding Jasmine. And I made a big fuss of, oh, look, isn't she beautiful, and let me hold her. And then Louise looked at me and she said, what about me?
oh.
And that's one of the few things that still causes me grief. Because I think it's quite a normal thing that this new person has come into your life and everybody's so excited about the baby, whereas a mum needs just as much or more. Jasmine was about 8.5 months old when Louise died. So had she had a problem, I believe it started quite a long way before she had the baby, and she was strong enough to carry it through and put on the happy face and enjoy it as she could. I really believe that now.
Yeah. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, isn't it? I think we all can think of the small moments we could have said or done something differently.
Yes.
But, you know, you can't go back in time. You can only sort of, press forward into the future. So, yeah. So then you mentioned that was how old would Jasmine have been?
Jasmine's about 8.5 months old.
Right.
When Louise died. But she would say to me things like, just look at her. Can you believe that we made her? And she's so perfect. Yeah, and that wasn't long before she died. So it was still excitement and she was absolutely loved. I mean, she couldn't have had a more fabulous husband and family. we all adored her. Yeah, we all adored her.
Yeah. So going up in that sort of 8.5 months, had she been to see a doctor? Was there any kind of support in place? Had she voiced anything to anybody that you're aware of?
Not until quite a lot, 6 months or so. she did say to me, do you think I could have postnatal depression? And I knew nothing about postnatal depression. I thought that it was the sort of thing that if you were affected that way, that you would get in a dark room and curl into a ball, and that was my impression. And I remember I said, why would you say that? And she said, oh, I just wonder.
She said to me twice on the phone when I was in London that I think I've got postnatal depression, and I was like, don't be stupid, you've got you've got everything you want. You've got a beautiful husband and a gorgeous baby girl, and now what I've learned over the last 25 years of the work that's been done. It was the worst things I could have been saying, but again, had no experience with a new mum, let alone somebody who was suffering. So
yeah. Was there anything that sort of, I guess, looking back, you think, oh, that was a sign maybe I missed, or Simone?
Not really. I mean, I knew that she was quite keen to find ways to do some work, and she was coming up with some really creative ones. So she'd been, as Mum mentioned, national advertising manager for Australian Country Style magazine, and she was thinking, oh, she could be a wedding celebrant, and she could be like all these other things that she could do where Dave could look after Jasmine when she wasn't at work, and she was worrying about that as well, and trying to make sure that she was, going to be able to work again and fit her, her role as a mum in with her life as well. But nothing specific. I mean, I found out after she died that we found out she'd reached out to her GP. She had a referral to one of the Mothercraft organisations to go and do a stay with them, but there was a very long wait for that. So she'd never disclosed anything to me. And again, being the little sister, probably, she was protecting everyone around her as well from what she was feeling.
Too, in terms of any kind of mental health, perimental health, or any kind of mental health crisis, there's a great deal of shame that comes with that. And I think especially being a mum, you just feel like you should be able to have it all together. So she was no doubt a little frightened. We've spoken about these sort of early warning signs now and things that you realise in hindsight. Can you talk to me about that last day of Louise's life and what happened and how you learnt that she had taken her life?
Yeah. Well, I was back one step. Louise wasn't sleeping. I had no idea that was, can be a reaction to postnatal depression. She just wasn't sleeping, and she said she and Dave would talk and lie in bed wide awake, and Jasmine would be awake and Louise couldn't sleep between, and they talked about laughing about it when she was 21 and she was not coming home and all that sort of stuff, and things would be different. And on the morning, so I invited them over for dinner, and I said, why don't you let Jasmine stay, you go home and have a good night's sleep. So I was going out the next day at 11 o'clock, and I said to her, now don't rush, go to the shops, have a walk around, do something, something you want to do. And don't forget, I don't have to leave until 11, and it doesn't matter if I'm a little bit later. She rang me in the morning at about 7:30, and I asked her if she'd had a good night's sleep. She said, no, I just couldn't even get to sleep. She said, I think I was awake nearly all night. I said, do you think that was because Jazzy wasn't there? And she said, I don't know, I just couldn't sleep. And I said, well, okay, well, go back to bed, have a bit of a lie-in, and mentioned again about having to go out. But I said, make the most of the time. And that was the last time I ever spoke to her. She died that day. I'm not sure what time, where she was. And obviously she didn't arrive to pick Jasmine up, so I rang Dave and asked where she was, and she didn't have a phone. It was before everybody had iPhones. And I asked, if Louise, had been sick or something had happened, and he didn't know. And then he rang me later, and it's hard to remember because exactly, and I don't sort of know how to explain it because my head's in such a muddle. But the next time I heard from someone, it was from a friend who rang me, and I said, "Do you know where Dave is?" And she said that he was with her husband on the way to the morgue. And she obviously didn't know that I didn't know.
So
that was pretty shocking, as you can imagine.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
so glad that Jasmine was with me that day. And
Everyone's starting.
I know. Where's our tissue, dear?
In my pocket. And
round.
Oh, okay.
Tissues around.
Oh, gosh.
I'm right.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That must have been so devastating.
It was just so unexpected. I thought she'd had a puncture, or she'd been warned for speeding a couple of days before. And it was in a school zone,
She wasn't going fast.
She wasn't going fast, but she was going a little bit. And she was very, very distracted. Yes, so she wasn't herself.
No. So who was with you, and how? What support did you have in that moment? Did you reach?
Oh well, I was on my own.
I was there.
I was. I was on my own, ready to go out. It was a lunch, and I rang them to say I was running a bit late, and then I said, "Oh, she still hasn't arrived, so I'm going to be late." Yeah, and I mean after the phone call, I don't quite know what I did.
Yeah,
I don't quite know whether I phoned a few people or. I've got no idea whether I phoned you or Simone or Jacqui.
I was at work at a meeting, and I came out of the meeting and my husband was there to pick me up. My turn to have a little cry now. And he was like, "Something's happened to Louise. I don't know what." And we went up to Mum and Dad's, and it just all kind of came crashing in.
Yeah.
That must have been so hard for you being so far from home
Yeah,
as well,
I was in a
Jacqui.
little hotel in Birmingham on a roadshow for work when the phone rang, and it was very early in the morning, and I just couldn't believe it. Like the last person that I would think would do that. Like it was just so hard to get my head around, and it didn't seem real because I was on the other side of the world. So then it was kind of like, what do I do? Do I, Dad's like, "Do you want me to book your flight? And you don't have to come back for the funeral." And it was kind of like overwhelming. So. Yeah, it was pretty shocking, and I just didn't want to come through customs when I landed because it's kind of like, well, it's going to be real the minute I go through the arrivals gate where Simone was with her husband and his brother. Yeah. So, it was,
Yeah.
Very tough.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about her funeral and how you...
So we had
a lot of people.
It was a completely overwhelming week really in the lead up to it, but then the day itself was... it's all a bit of a blur, to be honest. There's a lot of familiar faces, like as you arrived, sort of seeing people think, "Oh my gosh, they know. Like, how does everyone know this?" But it was like the crowd was sort of spilling out of the chapel that we're in. And we had a family priest who had conducted all of our christenings and like my wedding, our Holy Communions, all of those sort of events for our family. And he was quite an extraordinary priest. He had
very unique,
brilliant sense of humour, but he kind of got us through that week. I think he came over and saw us a couple of times, and then was there obviously on the day to conduct the service. But one thing that he said to us all was, like about the crying, because we're all such good criers. And I mean, we're criers that cry at things like, Qantas
Happy.
commercial.
NRMA ads.
NRMA. Hence why we really, really cry about this. But I just remember him sort of saying, you know, it's okay to have a little drink and dilute things. There's going to be a lot of tears coming out. You've got to stay hydrated and sort of, you know, trying to lighten our load a bit because we're all just so devastated. But the service was really beautiful, and I just remember being in awe of anyone who spoke that day. And then we went back to Mum and Dad's and had a celebration of her there, and again lots of familiar faces, and my friends made sandwiches. I just remember that as well, just thinking, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. They've just, you know, turned up with all these sandwiches. But we were just also overwhelmed and shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of still are.
Yeah,
25 years later. And it's
Yeah.
like, how did this happen to our family who was so close and
Strong.
normal, and there was so much love, and she was so supported, and she had what she'd always dreamed of, you know, with a beautiful marriage and a beautiful baby.
An amazing
And
husband.
For that to happen to our family, it could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It truly can happen to anyone.
Next, we're going to hear how Louise is remembered by her family and also the role that she plays in her daughter Jasmine's life today. I'll see you in a minute.
A warm hello to our new listeners. I'm Sophie, editor of the Australian Women's Weekly, and we're so happy you're joining us on this new chapter. For over 90 years, the Australian Women's Weekly has been a trusted home of real love stories, the kind that are messy and funny and quietly miraculous, just like real life, and just what we all need right now. Now, with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories, we're wrapping those stories around you in lots of new ways. Online, in your ears, wherever you are, making it easy as possible for you to enjoy. So, if you've grown up with the Weekly or you're just finding us now, welcome. And we'd love you to come on this new adventure with us, exploring every kind of love and the real things that matter to all of us. And because you're listening, and we value that, we've got something special just for you. A discounted subscription to the Australian Women's Weekly so you can dive even deeper into the stories you're liking. Just head to womensweekly.com.au to find out more. And thank you so much for being part of our Love Stories family. Now back to the chat.
Then I guess I'd like to move it forward. So you went to make a donation on behalf of Louise.
Yes, we put a notice in the paper and asked, and we thought, well, we'll get something to do with postnatal depression. And we just couldn't find anywhere specifically for postnatal depression. Being on the northern beaches, I was looking sort of around that area, and I contacted someone who told me that Manly Hospital had in their psych ward, they had a group that met once a week, I think it was. And so that's who we asked people to donate rather than flowers. And it sort of happened from there that the girls said that there's just got to be some help. You know, it just needs to be somewhere. And then
Libby.
Yeah.
So Louise's close friend at the time, her and her husband Jared, who's the one that named her Gidget.
Yeah.
Harry, their son Harry, was born the same time as Jasmine. So it was Libby that rang Simone and I and said, we need to get a house. You know, we need to get somewhere where people can go for help because there just wasn't anywhere. So that's kind of how it started. No, I guess that's how it started.
Yeah. So take me one step back to the nickname Gidget. Where did that come from? How did that come to pass?
I guess it's getting into her fun, giggly kind of persona. She'd be like Sally Field, I guess, in the movie Gidget or the TV series Gidget. Her polka dot bikini, and you know they go to the beach together, and Louise. She was quite gullible, you know. Jared would say to her, you know the barbed wires come from a lady called Barbie Dwyer, and she believed him. So then she'd tell people. So she'd tell people that Barbie Dwyer was who the barbed wire was named after. So she was. They had a beautiful friendship, and had babies at the same time. So the Gidget, that's pretty much where it came from, wasn't it? The beach and growing up, they were friends since teenagers.
Yeah, and the fact that Dave, Jasmine's dad, didn't really want her name used.
Right.
He wondered
It's very private.
how Jazzy would would grow up with this loss. And I think we all sort of felt the same way.
Yeah.
And he truly is a marvellous bloke. Like, you could not meet
A better
a
guy.
nicer, kinder, better man.
So was it at a table pretty much like this? Because I feel like I've read you sat around a table and went,
drinking
what are we
wine.
going to do?
Yeah.
Wine therapy.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so she had a few friends that had babies around the same time. So they were all in the same shock that we all were. And they decided to get together. And that's when Libby called Jacqui and I and said, do you want to come along? We're not sure what we're going to do, but do you want to come and join us? And we were like, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we met at someone's house and just, there was a lot of tears and a lot of emotion. But Libby came up with this concept of doing a ladies' lunch and raising some money and also just some awareness as well.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we didn't really know what we were going to do with those funds, but we just knew we wanted to do something in memory of her.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up selling all of our tickets really quickly. We had 200 people come to the first lunch. We raised $20,000. Like, it was quite extraordinary. We ran out of raffle tickets on the day. Like, we were completely bombarded by the response. And all that told us was there was such a need, and people enjoyed the fact that there was an outlet to discuss this issue and also to help others in the community and try and make a difference. So it grew from there.
Can I ask, how common is the incidence of perinatal mental health crises in Australia?
So we know that 1 in 5 mums struggle and 1 in 10 dads.
Wow, that's
So
huge.
It is. So it equates to 100,000 parents each year. And at the moment, we're seeing around 5,000 parents each year. So we do know that there's a lot of people that aren't accessing our programs who may need to. We do offer the services that are face-to-face counselling where our Gidget houses are located, but also we offer the telehealth program, so anyone in the regions or remote areas can also access help if they need it.
Right. So that's good to know, because I think there's pockets of Australia where the help is very limited, and especially in regional Australia. And, I know there's a lot of understaffing when it comes to mental health particularly. So that's wonderful to know. Yeah. Well, then talk to me about those early days. You raised $20,000, which is fantastic. You realised that there was a lack of places for women to go who were in crisis. Talk to me about how you started building those early days of the Gidget Foundation and what those first milestones were that you achieved.
So for the first about 10 years, we would raise funds and then we would donate it to an organisation that was working in the space, in the kind of early parenting space. So there was a phone line that used to be run and they had a support line. So we donated money to them for the first couple of years. And then we spoke to Tresillian, who are the early parenting organisation in New South Wales. They run a phone line also. They also have residential units and day units as well. And what they told us was that 1 in 3 parents that were coming into them back then, this is a long time ago, but 1 in 3 parents that were coming into their programs, they were diagnosing with either depression or anxiety associated with their pregnancy or early parenting journey. So they wanted to initiate a scholarship, which they wanted to call the Gidget Scholarship, which would mean that one of those child and family health nurses every year could receive mental health training, and that would allow them to have services in-house rather than having to bring someone in to provide those programs for them. So that was our next focus. And then we had a incidental meeting with an obstetrician and his wife, and they were very interested in what we were doing and came along to one of our meetings with all the founders and said, do you know what, I think you need to look at doing a program and we can help you initiate a program. So that's when we then decided to do some fundraising for our own cause and initiated the program that's now known as Gidget House, which was initially started in North Sydney. We found a rental property there where we could run a few consultation rooms out of. We got enough funds together to do a pilot program and eventually employ someone to run the program. And it just went from there. And the fact that there was always a wait list told us that we needed to do more. And so we needed to find ways to roll out the Gidget House program to as many locations as we could.
Yeah. Where are you now, 25 years in? You've gone from that one place. Where are you now?
So the first Gidget House was opened in 2013. So it was as I said, for those first 10 years we were doing a lot of fundraising and everything else before we initiated the program. But we've now opened 45 Gidget houses, and the projection is that by the end of 2027 we'll have 50 nationally.
That's fantastic.
Which is amazing.
Because is there anything else like that in that space at the moment, or are you really...
Not specifically. There are other organisations that work in the perinatal mental health space that there's some peer-to-peer counselling, and there's other programs as well, but our model is quite unique. Anyone who wants to come in who has a referral from their GP accesses the service free of charge, which was always really important to us.
Yeah.
And they can access face-to-face counselling. Plus we also do a group program and provide telehealth services as well.
Great. I want to take a step backwards here. You mentioned earlier, so, obviously calling the foundation, Gidget Foundation, was maintaining that sense of privacy for Jasmine. Raising her from such a young age, with her dad, but as a family raising Jasmine with that loss, how did you approach that, as she grew older and as she could probably understand a little more?
Yeah. Because she didn't really remember her mother, I mean, for the first few weeks, every time that came, she would hear somebody walking up the stairs, she would look over at the door, obviously, thinking it might be her mum. But then I noticed that, sort of gradually changed. Her dad came and stayed at our house as well. So for the first, it was quite a while, months. They lived with us, and then Dave said he had to go home. He had to start this is going to be his life, raising his daughter. He had to go home, and I didn't really want him to go. As much as I understood, I understood, and he wanted Jasmine to go into daycare. He didn't want me to have to be responsible, and he was working, of course. Once she got a little bit older, then I would pick her up every Friday. She came because Dave worked Saturdays as well. So Friday afternoon I'd pick her up from school and bring her home, for the weekend, for the day or the weekend. That was a very big jump from her being a baby to being a school child. But I was really quite involved in getting her places and doing her and absolutely loving it. Loving it because I was doing it for her and her mum and her dad. And it might sound weird, but it was not a happy time for me, but it was a special time for me, I guess. And Jazzy and I had a special bond, and we did all sorts of things. She came on all sorts of holidays, but Jasmine's a remarkable young lady. Her dad has been the greatest guy you could ever imagine, and what he's done, and that's, I think, being that sort of a man has helped Jazzy be the lovely, independent, gorgeous girl that she is today. And we're all very proud of her, incredibly proud of her.
And she had the house was set up. She had a room at Mum and Dad's, and she had a room, obviously, with Dave at home. So there was the same toys and the same setup, so that there was that, I guess, that comfort and that was in there. And then we had a routine. So Mum would do Fridays. I would stay at Dave's on a Sunday night, get Jasmine to school on the Monday, pick her up, go to Simone's, we'd eat cake, dance, do whatever on a cake. So, I guess there was always that.
Well, it does
with all of us.
Take a village, doesn't it?
Yeah,
totally. When did you broach the conversation with Jasmine about her mum and were there questions that were being asked, or when did you have the conversation? How did you have the conversation about
you got advice, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I went and saw a child psychologist, and asked. I think Dave had also, but initially we would just say, "Poor mummy," mummy got sick and she died, and that's all. You had to just sort of change things as the years went by, and then then she'd say, "But why did she die when she got sick and whatever?" And then.
It adjusts the news to be age appropriate, I guess, for what a little girl could understand.
Yeah. And we sort of did that with consultation with Dave, and he always was not looking forward to the day that he had to actually tell Josie that her mum died from suicide, and. He rang me one day and he said, "I've had the conversation." And I said, "Oh, what conversation was that one?" He said, "The one I've been dreading." I asked her if she knew what suicide was. And, she said, yes, she knew what that was.
Well, I guess then for you, Jasmine, when did it become real? Because when you were a little kid, I think you just, like the stuff you're told, it's like you get on and it takes a little minute when you get a bit more experience in life and you see. So when did it become a conscious thought for you? Or
Yeah, probably around 12 or 13. Like as you're going into high school, I think you become a lot more aware, especially all girls, like moving into an all-girls school.
Yeah. And do you remember the conversations you had with your dad and with...
I remember being in the car one day with you and I asked you, I think I got picked up from school. I didn't want to be at school that day. And I asked Grandma and, like, you were very honest about it all, and it almost felt, not that I'd been holding on to it, but it almost felt like a weight had, like, lifted, just knowing.
Yeah.
What role has your mum played in your life? Because you've had all these wonderful women and your dad sharing stories and telling you about things. What sort of role has your mum played for you?
Well, I get told that I've got her shopping habits a lot, which I find, like, very endearing.
Yeah.
And I think Dad, I remember having issues with a friend at school once and, like, it was reoccurring and I just got over it and I was, like, explaining to Dad and I was like, you know what, I'm just done. Like, I'm done with these people or something like that. He goes, hey, your mum was like that too. Like, it's not very, but, like, it's been nice, like, as Grandma was saying, like, when, something happens being like, oh, Louise was like that, or, having that presence. But I think from how I was brought up, I didn't know any different and I had such a good childhood. Like, as Jack said, we had a routine. Like, I'd go to Grandma and Papa's on a Friday. We usually would go out on the boat on Saturday. Dad would pick me up. We'd go get a nice dinner on Saturday night. Then Sunday night, Jacqui was over at ours, and then I'd go have breakfast in the morning. Like, it was, sounds like it's all centred around food.
4 olives for breakfast.
Yeah, 4 olives for breakfast down in Manly. And then we go to Simone's for dinner on Monday night, and I'd see all my cousins, and it was just, like, great.
Yeah.
So
you were never lacking in love.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
And even now, like, God, I've got, like, such a beautiful, like, our family's amazing. But now, like, going into another family, getting married, like, his family is so amazing. And it's just, like, it's such an overwhelming feeling of love and just gratitude to have that. Like, to not have one thing, but to then have all this other amazing things around you as well. It's just, like, it is overwhelming, but it's also, it just makes me so grateful.
Now, you mentioned you are deep in wedding
Yes,
planning mode. Is there a way that Louise, that your mum will be part of the ceremony, or that you'll honour her on the day?
Yeah, there's a few things. Like, as Grandma said, like, she had a red wedding dress and my shoes are actually maroon, like a maroony red. And then, she'll be present throughout the day, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I believe you've said previously that you write notes and letters to Louise, just letting her know about her family and what's happening.
Yes.
Do you still do that?
I don't as much. It used to be, as the years have gone by, sometimes it might be 3 months or 6 months. I did it because I wanted to be able to tell Jasmine things, and also because they're just like a series of little love letters, really, telling her what's happening with her friends and our family, and about what Gidget Foundation was up to, and you would have loved to have been there. I always think that, because she would have. She would have just loved it, them. And so I sort of thought about that I should continue it. Yeah. But I guess as time goes on and you heal in different ways, maybe there was a lot of, I was getting a lot of mental health from doing that too, for writing down my feelings, and, I might have needed to write her a note more often than I do now. I mean, obviously I'll miss her till the day I die, but I've got to a place in my life where I now look at her life and I think what an amazing life she had. She was happy, truly happy. She was a lovely child, beautiful daughter, loving wife and mum, and everything. She always looked on the bright side. She was one of those people.
A short but full life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, as siblings, someone said this to me once and it really resonated. It's the longest relationship you have in a lot of ways, and you share that bonded experience if you have the same parents, the same upbringing. It's just such a unique relationship. As sisters, how has your grief moved on to this point? Like, where are you now in that stage of grief, and how do you, outside of the Gidget Foundation, how do you honour your sister?
I know that we're very, very close, Simone and I, probably closer than we may have been.
Yeah.
I think you realise how important your family is when you lose somebody, I guess, things that you might take for granted. And we talk about Louise all the time. So we share laughs, and, I look at photos, and I think from a grief cycle perspective, you can be totally fine and chugging along, and then one day you just fall into the hole, but you just remember the good times, I guess. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, and Gidget Foundation has been very cathartic for us, or for all of the founders, her close friends and us. We've had this extraordinary bond between us, similarly, that we probably wouldn't have been as close to her friends if we didn't create Gidget Foundation Australia. It's quite extraordinary. We're still the same group of people meeting regularly.
Everyone's had babies together.
Yes, working towards this common goal of making sure that she's remembered, and that we don't want anyone else to go through what our family and friends went through all those years ago. So I guess that's how we honour her. But we do, we will laugh about things too, and find an old photo and share them and do things like that. Yeah. She loved Portuguese tarts, so if it's her birthday or anniversary, we have Portuguese tarts. It's almost like a bit of a family tradition as well, where, that's what we do to kind of, a little nod to her. If I wear red, it makes me think of her. Yeah. Like this bracelet was from our very first, one of our events. We always would have a merchandise item. And so I've got a bevy of Gidget pieces now that I can put on, which is really nice as well, just to kind of have her with you.
Yeah. If there is someone out there who's either worried about a loved one or who doesn't know quite what to do to come forward, what's sort of a bit of advice that you could impart to anyone who might be listening and needs to hear this today?
Absolutely. I think it's just what we always want to do is raise awareness of Gidget Foundation Australia and the programs that we offer, and just for everyone to know that the sooner you get help, the quicker you'll get better. And all you need is a referral from your GP to access our services, and they're free of charge. But we just want everyone to know that Gidget is there for them, and that there is help if they need it.
And you will get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get help.
Yeah.
Get the right help.
Yeah. And then if we haven't already touched on it today, what's one thing you hope we all know about Louise as we leave this conversation? Is there one thing that you'd love?
That she loved to sing. I don't know if you know this. She loved to sing, but she never had the right words. But that was part of the bubbly personality. She'd proudly sing. No, I can't think of one of them. Like in the
Sweet
car,
Sorrento Moon.
would all be sitting across the back seat, the three girls, and would be singing, and then she'd say a line, and Jacqui and I'd be like, "What did you say?" But her bubbly personality was a beautiful thing, and I think that's what we all miss.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. It's been a beautiful conversation. And yes, I hope we do raise awareness and more money for the Gidget Foundation Australia. We'll have all the resources in our show notes for people to go out and find out.
Oh, that's good.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Yes.
Thanks.
Wow. I hope you all had your tissues with you. I certainly did, and I've used quite a few of them today. What an amazing conversation that was about grief and love, about the invisible weight that too many new mothers are carrying alone, and about what it looks like to transform the absolute worst moment of your life into something that saves others. Please jump into our show notes to find out more about the Gidget Foundation Australia. You'll also find other support services if this has triggered something for you. You've been listening to me, Tiffany Dunk, of the Australian Women's Weekly. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with the women in your life who matter most. Until then, I'll be back next week with another episode of Love and Hope. I hope to see you then. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare. Love has never been one size fits all, and these are the stories we love to tell at the Australian Women's Weekly. For over 90 years, we've been bringing you stories of hope, of heart and connection that reflect the world we live in. And now it's time for a new chapter with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories podcast.
This is an R Media podcast.